Let's move across into another question that we received, and that is, Ruth, how would you know that your donors are engaged? What are some of the main characteristics of an engaged donor?
Sure. First, we need to talk about self-selection, the fact that there are many people who are happy to be a passive donor, and that is fine. And I'm a passive donor to a number of organisations. Some I engage with quite, deeply, but for others, it's just, I know you're doing a good job. I'm happy to give you $25 once a month on my debit card, and thank you, send me a couple of updates a year, and so that's fine. That's good. But for the people who are more engaged, we did some quite extensive data analytics on this, and I want to stress that it's important that I note that these data analytics related to engaged donors in the US and Canada. But frankly, when I spoke with social venture partner members in India and China and Japan and other places around the world, the very same characteristics seem to come through.
Right. Okay.
So I'm going to have to put the glasses on.
Humans being humans,
yes,
okay?
The glasses have to come on. So social standing is not a driver of why these people are engaging. They're not doing it in order to, they're not doing it in order to raise their social status. They might have a predisposition to be engaged in community activities. So they might already be involved in school groups, parent groups, other community efforts. Equal numbers of men and women. On the whole, they were well educated and cognizant of the social issues around them. They were often not from a background of inherited wealth. And this I think this was very positive, because it meant that they were open to new ideas about how giving and volunteering should be practiced. Right. And open to the idea that they could learn and gain new skills and understanding through being involved in education and training and mentoring around social issues and the approaches that non-profit organisations were taking to respond to those social issues. So we found that many had children, and that this was very important because of their concerns about the future that their children were going to inherit, but also because they wanted to model positive engagement with their community. They wanted to model good giving, good community engagement, good volunteering. And finally, being in the company of peers was a very major driver. In fact, it was always one of the two major reasons that people joined social venture partners. They wanted to be part of a community of donors that, as you said earlier, were like-minded and like-hearted. Yeah.
Great.
So, and they wanted to get close enough to understand and appreciate the approach that the nonprofits they were supporting were taking to the issues. They wanted to actually know, well, why do you think this is the best way to do this? Why is it different from what others are doing? What is the piece of innovation or the change that you are attempting to bring about that is likely to make a substantial difference? The flow-on effect of this, Julia, was that people became much more eager and much more eager to learn about and interested in the systemic issues that were behind a social issue. So that, yes, while they might have started to initially their goal was to help kids finish year 12. At some point it becomes, well, this is about more than why kids are finishing year 12. This is about why are kids dropping out? What are the drivers of kids disengaging at, you know, early in their high school years, or so, you know, people become, it's, and it becomes an enormous driving force for people. There are countless numbers of people who I know for whom their giving has become one of their most absorbing and satisfying occupations. And it has driven their personal time, it's driven their post-paid work life. For many of them, it's also been the spur to actually make them change careers. Anyway, I've stopped there.
We do see that a lot, don't we? Where it can just, and the more upstream you go, the more questions that you ask.
Yes.
And if you've got a problem-solving mind, you find that with engaged donors, a lot of them have this problem-solving mind, and they keep pulling at threads and unraveling things, and then they share that, and then it's just that, as you say, about the education. And it's not just what they learn on their own, but what they learn together and unravel together.
Yes.
And it's quite magical to watch.